Ladies and gentlemen, the whole La Collette reclamation area is laid out as though Jersey had space to waste. And we know that the opposite is true. We've got rows of metal sheds on an asphalt sea with sodium lighting dotted around when we could have the most southerly community in the British Isles. You've only got to look at Google Earth to see the amount of space that's given over to surface car parks. I'd like to see the whole of the La Collette area completely refigured. Get some houses down there. You know, if we can use that space more efficiently, we can avoid the urban sprawl versus high-rise conflict that is currently St Helier is facing. Now, of course, after the Buncefield explosion in 2005, La Collette was designated a low-density area. And it's all right to wipe out a few people if our fuel farm goes up in flames, but not a whole lot. I don't get it. Some of you heard me questioning the TTS guy who came to the residents' meeting in this room at the same time last week, I think. And I was pushing him about the fuel farm for this reason. I know he didn't want to talk about it. It's not his fault. Nobody in our government even wants to start thinking about moving the fuel farm. They're not looking that far ahead. They don't want to talk about it. It's taboo, because they don't want to spend the 30 or so million pounds that it's going to cost to put it at Ronay or wherever it should be. But it shouldn't be there. You know, move it, they will have to do one day. I think we should be starting to talk about that now. They won't let you walk around La Collette or fish off it or landscape it nicely, because they don't want you to start getting an ownership of it. But we should own La Collette. It's our front doorstep, our gateway. It is not TTS's new backyard replacement Belazan. It's an insanity to spend millions of pounds on a reclamation site and then have it designated low density. When we started with the reclamation site, it was supposed to be the great white hope to solve all our housing problems. And now we apparently can't put houses down there. Richard Fall's plan for Havre des Pas, you know, the Port Grimaud at Havre des Pas, is thankfully dead in the water because of the Ramsar designation. But we could utilise some of the spirit of that around the corner at La Collette. Now, land reclamation doesn't have to be a flat plinth of inert waste surrounded by a cement jungle, a cement ring fencing. It could, you know, that is exactly the sort of reclamation that Jersey has had, really, since the occupation. But we could do better. I'm talking about a network of canals kept full by locks, rows of nice townhouses, you know, the Port Grimaud thing. Imagine that sort of development just down the road from Havre des Pas. It could potentially be regenerational. I'm not alone on this. John Young is also of the same opinion as me. That's why I'll be voting for him for senator, and I urge you to think about doing the same. I've worked in Singapore and I've seen what can be done with fantastic waterfront reclamation, but you don't have to go as far as there. You can go to Cardiff, or you can go to Gateshead, of all places. And those cities are putting Jersey to shame. Ours is not good enough, you know. We've got to reunite St Helier with the sea. That's the sort of thing that I'm passionate about, the urban environment. I'm passionate about not wasting the opportunity that the waterfront presents for the island and for the town. And that's why I'm standing here. As I said, I've been to Singapore. I left the island in 1990, and I've been... I was at Plymouth for 10 years, I was in London, I've been around the world, I've worked in North America, Los Angeles, New York, I've worked in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, as I said, Cape Town, and now I'm back, and I'm living here, and I want to contribute, and I think I have something to contribute. And I think that's a healthy thing. Don't we want to educate our young people, send them off if they want to be sent off for further education, qualification, see the world, and come back to the island and contribute? Or if they want to go straight into the finance industry, we should be doing that too. we should be equipping them so that they're skilled enough to go into these industries. Now, I've been talking about the Buncefield explosion. We have, of course, had this week the Boliat explosion about our education system. And we should be listening to that. Excuse me. We should be listening to him. Even education departments, even schools have something to learn. I'm not criticising, and I don't think he was, teachers and the classroom, but there's something wrong with the education department. We've had a succession of very weak education ministers who've not set the policy. And one of the things I'm passionate about is education. I've taught in a visiting lecturer for drama colleges, and I've been there whilst they've been Ofsted inspected, external inspections of what's going on in the school. And it sends a frisson through the school. It's not a very pleasant experience, but my goodness, it puts you on your toes. Now, we fired the Ofsted inspectors because we didn't like what they said. It was embarrassing. And we've got internal inspection of schools now. Teachers doing the assessments of their colleagues who they have to work with. I've spoken to them. They say it's awful, it doesn't work. And I think that the other thing we have is professional partners, very highly paid, to hold the hands of head teachers. Now, of course, they're not going to criticise the department. They're in the department's employ. The reason why I'm banging on about education so much, because I think it's vital. Education, immigration, income support, unemployment, social security, it's all linked. It's all linked. And I think our government has messed up with at least 3 of those. I really do. I know Nick likes to say that I'm a establishment figure parachuted in to St Helier No. 1 to fight this election on the part of the establishment. Well, if anybody has read my letters to the Evening Post over the last 20 years or listened to me banging on the radio, that's frankly ridiculous. Apparently I'm also not even living in Jersey, which is also ridiculous, Nick. And I know you've got your issues. I'm not going to dwell on it. I hope that that will stop now. And even if it doesn't, I think people will see through it. So I do think we need a fresh energy. I think we need some new faces. I do think the government, and this is how establishment I am, I think our government needs a near total clear out. Even if Ian Gorst is re-elected, even if Ian Gorst is re-elected Chief Minister, and he may be, if he comes back with those same faces, I'm sorry, I think they'll be all right. We need a complete change, next generation, new faces, new energy. That's why I'm standing. Thank you.